I'm Gotti Schwartz coming to you tonight from Los Angeles with breaking news across the central United States. There were many communities are seeing a violent outbreak of life-threatening tornadoes touching down and wreaking havoc, including a huge tornado that just ripped through Little Rock, Arkansas. Now, images of the devastation are still coming in, but take a look at some of the damage. We have already seen blocks of total devastation, trees uprooted, cars flipped over, roofs caved in, entire homes collapsed. The state's governor, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, has declared a state of emergency, and the mayor of Little Rock is already calling for help from the National Guard. Here's some more of the destruction we're seeing tonight.
I got huddled behind that brick barrier right there, and it blew everything out and blew the roof off. It was like 1 minute of total hell. Everything in this parking lot seemed like it was flushing into that building. So I was leaving the Kroger and I got in my pickup truck. I looked back and there was the tornado coming up over the hill. So got out of my truck and started running for a shelter. And as I got in, huddled up against the cement barrier, every single glass window blew out and people were blown back. I thought I was a goner for sure.
My injuries are very, very minor to what I've seen. A lady had a bar through her calf. We had a lady that was in the U-Haul, had a lot of blood coming from her. It's terrifying. It is terrifying. It was like a split second, maybe, that you thought. I mean, I thought that me and two other, and Bill were dead. I mean, I just thought, okay, this is how I end my life.
Terrifying indeed. NBC's Emily Akeda is in Little Rock tonight. She was there when this tornado tore through and joins us now. Emily, I know that there was a time today that you and the team had to shelter in place. Is the immediate threat over where you're at right now?
Yeah, Gotti, that's the good news. The worst has passed, but it was a chaotic day. It started with tornado sirens roaring throughout the area. Then we got alerts on our phone, and then we heard hotel workers come over the intercom directing us to go down into the basement of the hotel to take shelter. This area saw back-to-back tornado warnings, and as we were downstairs with all of the other guests at the hotel, as some of the worst of the storm has passed, just across the way there, a tornado touched down, ripping through parts of North Little Rock, flipping cars, tearing off roofs to homes, really powerful winds coming through. One witness described it as seeing this monstrous storm come through with such a force it was tossing cars like toys, which really just speaks to the power of this storm. We saw more than 90,000 people at this hour, Gotti, are without power, and that's in Arkansas alone, and we continue to see the threats move across the country. The governor, as you mentioned, of Arkansas declaring a state of emergency, Gotti.
And Emily, we've already seen some pretty wild rumors about the number of people that were hurt in Little Rock from this storm. The mayor just tweeted that they know of 24 people who have been hospitalized. They're not aware of any fatalities yet. But from what you're seeing and what you're hearing, do you think that number could go up?
Yeah, I think that's a real unfortunate possibility. You said it, 24 people just in the Little Rock area, according to the mayor. We know 5 people at least are in critical condition. And we also recently learned from county officials that one person in this county, Pulaski County, has tragically died from this storm. But, you keep in mind, earlier today I talked about the tornado sirens that were blaring throughout the area. Now what we're hearing are the sirens of police cars and ambulances, because just for the last until the last hour or so, we were still experiencing an active threat, thunderstorms rolling through here, and so that makes it difficult to respond. And so now we're seeing the response really ramp up, and as the threat moves out and police and first responders can reach people in need of help, we'll get a better idea of just the exact toll from this massive, at least one tornado in the Little Rock area, Gotti, so we're going to have to stay on top of it. But they tell us that they are expecting extensive damage, and as we know, already 24 injuries.
Emily Akeda, thanks so much. And joining us now is Levi Walters. He lives in Little Rock, Arkansas. He watched the tornado tear through the city from his office window. Levi, thank you so much for joining us. First off, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thankfully, my coworkers and I were safe on the 5th floor of the building. Obviously, Little Rock suffered a great deal of devastation today, and my thoughts and prayers are with everybody in the city, as it's going to be a long few days and weeks as we rebuild.
And this is a video that you took right there from the 5th floor. What was it like to see that destruction, that funnel cloud start whipping through there so close to where you worked?
You know, it's startling, obviously, seeing a tornado in that proximity. I had been watching the news coverage throughout the day, knowing it was a severe weather day. And a coworker and I had to watch this severe storm transpire for probably the previous hour, and credit the local news organizations for getting us prepared and advanced warning systems by the National Weather Service and so forth. As the tornado was clear was going to approach, me and another coworker ushered everybody in the office down the stairwell of our building. And as I was joining them, I kind of caught the tornado out of the corner of my eye. And being 2023, I thought I better capture a video of it. And so I did. I did feel pretty safe with the proximity of the tornado. It was the north and to the north of us and moving northeast. So I felt safe from where I was at that time.
And Levi, I've got to ask, the direction that you were looking, that's not the direction of your home. Do you know people that were in that area? And have you been able to check on the area for damage?
Yeah, obviously, Little Rock is a city, but it's a small city. We're all relatively close, and having several coworkers within the office and so forth, it's safe to say that nobody was unaffected by it. As far as complete devastation, I think for the majority of people that I know, they were spared, but obviously a lot of damage that occurred in the area. I know vehicles flipped from some people I know, some people I work with. Electricity power outage is a big thing right now too. But thankfully, you know, we're all friends and neighbors here in this city, and we're all going to have a hand in helping rebuild.
And I know, are you home right now? Is the all clear been given to Little Rock so far?
Yeah, it has been clear for a while. We did have some trailing storms that kind of pushed through the area, but as of now, the sun is actually shining, which adds a little twist of irony to the day. It's very calm. The sun is shining. It's actually a beautiful evening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just shows how quickly a storm like this can appear and roll through. Levi Wolters, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely, Gotti. Thank you for having me.
And from Little Rock to Chicago, more than 62 million people were at risk for some kind of severe weather tonight. And we're talking everything from tornadoes to hail to severe storms. Let's head over to NBC's Bill Cairns for more on these storms. Bill, you were warning about this exact scenario yesterday. How's it looking right now?
We're kind of still in the middle of it. I'd say, you know, if it was a basketball game, we're kind of at halftime. We've already had about 18 tornado reports. These are adding up quickly, and we're going to get more through the evening. All the little red icons show you where all the tornadoes have been. There were some huge tornadoes that started near Ottumwa, Iowa, and then they moved towards Iowa City. I mean, those were just monsters. And then we've had some numerous tornadoes recently reported in areas in Illinois with some damage. And then we had the one in Little Rock, of course, we talked about. The fatality was in Wynn. Unfortunately, the high school there, it looks like it was pretty much destroyed. The roof has collapsed in. And then we're hearing reports that the middle school in Covington, Tennessee, significant damage there also. And that's all with that same supercell. So one thunderstorm, we call them supercells, produced all of those tornadoes I just talked about. So that was on, you know, about a destruction path of about 250 miles. So the worst right now, we have a tornado emergency. Tornado emergencies are issued when we know we have a confirmed tornado on the ground and it's heading towards populated areas. That's telling everyone you have to get to your safe room or evacuate, get out of the way of that tornado. So that just exited the Marvel area. This little hook back here, that's the tornado. It's about to cross the Mississippi River, and that tornado warning extends now into Mississippi. Here's Memphis. We're watching closely to see if that continues more towards the east or if it heads a little more northeast. It looks like it's going to go south of the downtown Memphis area. We'll have to watch out for Hernando here when it crosses Interstate 55, roughly about a half hour, 45 minutes from now. Now we're going to take you into areas of Tennessee. This is Jackson here. This is Interstate 40, tornado warning, and this is the storm that hit the Covington area that had the reported tornado that destroyed the middle school. And then further to the north, we're still watching areas here in Illinois. One tornado warning. This kind of storms have kind of merged all together, a little weaker. Tornado reported just north of Springfield, Illinois, a couple hours ago. And then Iowa, you notice where all the tornado warnings were. That's where the big, huge tornado was. We still have a couple tornado warnings on this. Hopefully these will be weaker tornadoes, because now when you get a narrow line like this, typically you don't get the strong tornado. So, Gotti, here's the map. We still have tornado watches that go until 1 a.m., including Nashville, Indianapolis, Louisville, Cincinnati area, Tupelo, Mississippi. Unfortunately, we're not done yet, and when the sun goes down, it gets a little scarier because the storm chasers can't give us these heads up when we know they're on the ground or not.
And as the sun goes down, just a quick reminder, what are the precautions people should be taking in some of those high-risk areas?
Well, if you don't have a weather radio, you want to make sure you have the alerts on your phone. Some people get annoyed by them. They turn them off. Well, maybe if you turn them off, make sure you Google it. Go figure out how to turn your type of phone back on so you can get those emergency alerts. Make sure it's charged and on the side of your bed. As you're sleeping, you'll get that alert. You'll hear the tornado warning. Then you can get your family to safety. That's some of the best ways to do it. But yeah, it gets scary when you go to sleep at night, when you know you have a threat of really strong tornadoes like we do tonight. And as we've mentioned many times, nighttime tornadoes are about twice as deadly as daytime ones, just for that reason. People just aren't as prepared and they don't know they're coming.
Bill Cairns, thanks so much. And as Bill mentioned, we are watching Memphis tonight. NBC's Blaine Alexander joins us right now from Memphis, Tennessee. Blaine, I know you've been tracking that monster cell that seems to be headed in your direction. What are you seeing? What are you hearing right now?
Well, Gotti, it seems like we're almost kind of in the calm between the two. You know, just about an hour and a half ago or so, around nightly time, we heard sirens going off. We know that that was already one massive storm system moving just to the north of where we were in Memphis. We're already seeing some reports of damage. We're talking to our climate unit there at NBC, and they're saying that there are significant reports of damage associated with that storm. But what's so unusual about this is, yes, you look 90 minutes later, and there's another threat already headed our way. That's why in this area where I am right now, Gotti, this is a busy entertainment district. There are a lot of restaurants, hotels. You know, there is at least one hotel, a couple of restaurants that already have plans in place. You know, one of the hotels that we were inside, they were already telling people as they checked in, this is where you go if it's needed. This is where you go in case of emergencies. Here's how you get there and get safe. So certainly they have their plans in place, and they're putting those warnings out and making sure that people take it seriously, Gotti.
Do people on the street seem to be taking it seriously? Yeah, I mean, the sky behind you, it looks dark, but the thing about tornadoes is you never know when one can whip up and cause the craziest damage that you've ever seen right in front of you, and it happens within a matter of minutes.
Absolutely, and sometimes within a matter of seconds. I've got to say this, though, that the wind has really been just the biggest concern, and it's kind of a foreshadowing of what we've seen all day. This area has been under a heavy wind advisory. Earlier this afternoon, we were set up doing live shots by the Mississippi River, about 15 minutes away or so, and the wind was very strong, and that was still hours before that first band of storms moved through. That's really the big concern that we're seeing right here when it comes to wind. Now, as for whether or not people are taking this seriously, people certainly seem to be noticing. They said, you know, we want to do this before the storm moves in. I think the fact that so many places here have a plan in place and are communicating that to people is certainly necessary as well. Gotti.
And I know you've got a plan in place. What's the timeline that you're looking at right now? When do you think it will be the worst?
If I look at my watch, we're probably about 40 minutes away or so before that next system moves in. But I think the thing to, note here is that, we've been watching TEMA all day. Of course, the Tennessee Emergency Management Authority here in Tennessee, the National Weather Service of Memphis, and they really have been putting out second-by-second updates, trying to tell people when this storm is coming, where this storm is coming, and to watch specifically. That's the concerning nature about all of this. You can be in one area of a city, not get impacted, and then another area, and it could be headed directly your way. So that's what we're watching very closely, just to make sure that we stay out of harm's way while we're reporting too. Gotti.
Blaine, we're praying for you and your team tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks.
And as the country waits to find out what charges Donald Trump faces, the former president is preparing to surrender and gearing up for his day in court. And even though we don't know the scope of the charges yet, sources tell NBC News that he could be facing about 30 charges. As of now, we know that Trump is expected to be arraigned on Tuesday. His lawyers have confirmed that he will not be taking a plea deal. Now, since this news broke last night, we've heard a lot of different reactions from politicians. Republicans condemning it, Democrats calling it a long time coming, Trump himself calling it a witch hunt while capitalizing on it for his 2024 campaign. What about the American public? Here's some of what they're saying about this whole thing.
And how do you think this indictment compares to what the other possible legal problems that he has?
Oh, this is nothing. Yeah, everything else, like inciting a riot, I mean, that would take the cake. So, yeah, this is nothing, I think, compared to all that.
Alvin Bragg is my GA, and I'm very upset with him. I think he needs to resign.
Just think it's stupid. It's going to not get anywhere, and it will come back to be bad on the Democrats.
ABC News anchor and senior White House correspondent Hallie Jackson joins me now. Hallie, let's start right here. How does this compare to his other legal problems? And here's what I keep getting texted about, and I'm sure you're in a bunch of text chains about this too. Is this the strongest case out there?
I have been cautioned by smart folks in the legal sphere to avoid describing it as like strong case versus weak case, and more as the idea of sort of a complicated case versus a slightly easier and more accessible case to bring. And so here's what I mean by that. And this is from folks who say, listen, the evidence is what the evidence is. But when it comes to the idea of the different cases against him, I'm just going to lay it out, Gotti. There's 3 of them facing him. There's this one about, we think, alleged hush money payments. That's what this indictment is. There's one in Georgia on election interference. And then there's that special counsel investigation into January 6th, the insurrection here at the Capitol, as well as classified documents. It's those latter 2 that legal experts think are just more of a fulsome case to make, if you will. And that is why you're hearing a lot of talk about, is this sort of the legally flimsier case to bring first? The idea being, in some ways, it's about the optics of this too, right? And this is something that the Trump team has seized on here is, well, how does this look, right? Like, if this is the case that comes forward, and it may be, you know, trickier to prove for Alvin Bragg. He obviously thinks he has enough to get the indictment and to bring this case forward, but it may be trickier to get a conviction here. What does that mean for these 2 other cases that come out that could have more of a sort of fulsome base of evidence and, frankly, more serious charges, I would say, although, you know, I'm not in the business of delineating which charge is which, Gotti, but you get what I'm saying here, like election interference versus some of this business fraud stuff.
Makes total sense. So it's almost a case of straightforward versus much more complex.
I think that's exactly it. Thank you. You know what? I spent 60 seconds rambling, and you just nailed it in 5 seconds. So, yes, that's exactly it. I mean, that really is the crux of it.
And what do we know about Tuesday and how this whole arraignment situation is going to play out?
So a lot. And forgive me, there was some breaking news that came in. As you know, I've been on the air. You've been on the air. We're doing a lot here tonight because this is all developing even tonight, even into Friday night, when we typically don't see a lot develop. That is what we're getting here. So here's what we know, that the former president, based on what sources are telling our teams, will get up to New York on Monday night, right? At some point on Tuesday, he'll head to the courtroom. We think in the afternoon he'll be arraigned. We expect that's when the indictment will likely be unsealed. Unless it happens before then, that is entirely possible. It's not as though we understand, based on sources, he's going to end up likely in handcuffs. In fact, that is probably not going to be the case, probably not going to end up in a holding cell. Remember, this is a former president. He's got Secret Service protection. So in addition to all the typical things that you would do for somebody facing charges like these, there is the layer of the Secret Service going, well, wait a second. Does it make sense for us to have a protectee in handcuffs? Like, is that the move? So we don't know sort of why some of these decisions are being made, but these are the things that we're thinking about as we're talking about security and thinking about what that security apparatus will look like. Lots of security on Tuesday. I can tell you, Gotti, there is going to be a big presence. I think you'll see officers in uniform next week, based on what the reporting indicates. It is going to be like a scene. You know, there's going to be, and I feel like folks out west get it in L.A. You always have those live chopper shots of like different police chases or whatever. I don't know that it's going to be exactly like that in New York, but it is certainly going to be a real scene when the former president arrives for this, frankly, historic and unprecedented thing.
And like you said, the new details are just coming in every single minute.
Yeah.
For those of you at home that don't know Hallie as well as I do, anytime she's not on camera, she's literally refreshing like she's doing right now.
Well, there's one other. I don't want to go. You go, and then I'll tell you this other good little nugget.
Please tell me, because I haven't refreshed in about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm sure I'm missing everything.
No, you're not. But the thing that I wanted to get at, because I think it's interesting, and I know that you're interested in this too, based on some of our conversations, is the way that the former president is trying to sort of capitalize not just politically off of this indictment, which at first blush you might think, wouldn't this be damaging? His team is trying to suggest that actually maybe this will mobilize people in his base, considering he's framing this as political persecution. But he's also trying to capitalize financially. And it looks as though, and I want to get this number right, we have some information, according to the Trump team, that they have raised something like $4 million in the 24 hours since this indictment news broke. They have been aggressively fundraising off of this. There are T-shirts now, merch available. You see some of the emails on screen here that have been going out. T-shirts that say, like, the date of the 3/30/23, right? Like, I stand with Trump. This is what they have been getting out there. I mean, it's indictment swag, Gotti. Call it what it is. That's what they're selling. And clearly there has been a major fundraising push off of it. $4 million in 24 hours is not nothing.
And to be fair, we've also seen that from Democrats as well. I mean, there's a lot of emails going out. There's just so much money being fundraised off of what we're seeing play out there in New York.
But you know what we haven't heard from Democrats? We haven't heard from President Biden. And not only we haven't heard from him as far as like he specifically is saying today, I am not going to comment on the Trump indictment. He was asked about this repeatedly as he was on his way to Mississippi to assess some of that storm damage. And this tracks with exactly what our team has been reporting here at NBC News, that President Biden is not interested in vocally wading into this issue. This is a Donald Trump issue. And so the president and the White House, based on some of the reporting by Peter Nicholas and others on our White House team, that is likely the line you'll hear for a little bit. Mostly, you know, staying out of it, staying silent, not commenting unless he feels like he absolutely has to here, Gotti. I think that's important. I will say one other thing, too. You know who else we haven't heard from? The top Senate Republican, Mitch McConnell. Not altogether shocking, considering he and Donald Trump have beefed before. They are not like BFFs. They haven't talked in a very long time. But I do think it is notable that as you're seeing the House Speaker come out in the last 24 hours with this full-throated defense of Donald Trump, key Trump ally, by the way, on the other side, in the other chamber here in Washington, Mitch McConnell seems to be biding his time a bit more.
Hallie, I'll let you get back to refreshing and absorbing every piece of information on this incredibly important story. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And to truly understand the legality of all this, let's for a quick second break down who the key players are in this whole thing and why. There's obviously former President Trump himself, who's accused, among other things, of falsifying business records related to hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels. But the payments were made by former Trump lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen, who is now the star witness for the prosecution after he pled guilty to campaign finance charges and served time in prison for all of this. And of course, there is Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. He was elected in 2021. He decided to go ahead with this grand jury investigation into Trump. And there are also the smaller players, Robert Costello, a criminal lawyer who testified that Michael Cohen cannot be trusted, Karen McDougal, a former Playboy model who says she had an affair with Trump as well and says she was also paid $150,000 to stay quiet by this guy, the former publisher of the National Enquirer, David Pecker. Let's bring in our legal analyst, Cynthia Oxney, to break all of this down. Cynthia, these are all names that we're going to be hearing a lot over the next couple of months if this case goes to trial. But at the center of this, Cynthia, is Michael Cohen and his credibility. How much do you think that this is going to play into what we see next?
Well, it plays a huge part. But I will tell you this. It is the goal of the prosecution in this case to make the case about the documents and then make Michael Cohen a narrator as opposed to the central witness. Because let's face it, you don't have to have a lot of experience to be able to prosecute Michael Cohen. He's lied. He's admitted it. His book is entitled Revenge. I mean, it's not a difficult cross-examination. On the other hand, even though he has these problems, here's the strength. It doesn't make any sense that he would pay for this by himself for no reason. And what classically prosecutors do after he gets, beat up a little bit or even before an opening statement, they say, look, this guy's got problems. He's kind of a rat. But if you want to know what's going on in the sewer, you don't ask the Pope, you ask the other rats. So that's what happens. There is some inherent credibility to him in that he was a Trump confidant, and it makes logical sense that Trump would pay him back. Like, what lawyer takes out a home loan to pay a porn star $130,000 that he didn't even have an affair with? So there is corroboration for him, and it's very important to get it forward, not only in the logic of it, but, we haven't looked at this case for a while, but there are not only the written documents, which are very important, all the checks that Trump signed, many of which when he was in the White House, but also there's an audio tape. I almost forgot that the other day. I re-listened to it. Cohen comes into the office and says, we've got to pay this blah, blah. And Weisselberg is in there. And he said, I'm going to set up an LLC. And Trump goes, no, cash. You hear Trump, so cash. Okay, that's a very important aspect of corroboration. So to the extent you can take it away from Cohen and make him a narrator and not the central witness, that's the way they'll try and actually try the case.
And Cynthia, we've got sources telling us that there are possibly 30 charges at play here. What kind of fraud are we talking?
Well, I mean, there are 11 checks. So that's 11 counts right there. And they may be subsetted into different things. So 30, when you have 11 checks and you have to have entries in business records to say that they, not only did we write these checks, but that was for legal services, when the legal services is a complete lie. It's really the payoff to the porn star. 34 counts is not a big deal.
Cynthia, this is a question that I've been thinking about all day long. At the corner of any legal case is the idea of an impartial jury. How do you select an impartial jury in a case that's going to be watched more closely than probably any other case in modern history? Are they going to be asking jurors who they voted for? Are they going to be trying to find, I don't know, a jury that maybe was living under a rock? This seems like the hardest part of all of this, especially in Manhattan.
I would agree. I think we're looking for people who can say, they're not going to ask them who they voted for. They're not going to ask them that. But they are going to be looking for other clues, like what TV stations do you watch? That kind of sums it up, really, doesn't it? And do you think, for whatever reason, whatever you think about Trump or whatever you think about Bragg, that you can put that aside and fairly evaluate the evidence? We worried in the case that was in Virginia with Manafort, that, oh no, people aren't going to be able to be fair. And in fact, we had a Trump voter who said afterwards, I kind of went in thinking one thing, but the judge told me I had to be fair. And I put it aside and looked at the evidence, and he was convicted. I have been impressed over the years. I've probably tried 50 cases, how seriously jurors take their oath. And they really look to the judge for guidance and direction. And if the case is tried well, they look for the prosecutor for the truth. And they will go in that jury room and really talk about the evidence and go over it. I have a lot of faith in the system, and I'm hopeful that that'll be borne out in this case.
They'll be looking to the judge, and we'll be looking to them. NBC News legal contributor and former federal prosecutor Cynthia Oxney, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And coming up, a major development in the fatal shooting on the Rust film set. We're going to have the details on who took a plea deal. But first, you got to see this. A speeding Mercedes driver hit a roundabout in Belgium. The car launched over 65 feet in the air, then smashed into the side of a sports training center and landed inside a children's basketball team was training in that exact spot just moments before. The driver was taken to the hospital with some injuries, but luckily, no one else was hurt. We'll be right back. And let's check in on some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. The city of Nashville lays to rest the first of its 6 school shooting victims. A funeral for 9-year-old Evelyn Deekhouse was held this afternoon. Friends and family wore pink and other happy colors for the service celebrating Evelyn's love of color. Evelyn was one of the 3 kids and 3 adults killed on Monday when a shooter opened fire at the Covenant School. The convicted killer and former Paralympian known as the Blade Runner has been denied parole in South Africa. 10 years ago, Oscar Pistorius was convicted for the murder of his girlfriend. The double amputee sprinter fired at Reva Steenkamp 4 times through a bathroom door back in 2013. The EPA has approved California's ban to phase out diesel trucks. The state will now require half of all garbage trucks, tractor trailers, cement mixers, and other heavy trucks to all be electric by 2035. It's part of California's plan to eliminate carbon dioxide emissions from transportation. And Senator John Fetterman is back home tonight after spending 6 weeks in the hospital for clinical depression. The Pennsylvania Democrat checked himself in for treatment last month. He now plans to go back to D.C. in 2 weeks when the Senate is back in session. And Pope Francis is expected to be released from the hospital in Rome tomorrow. The 86-year-old was admitted earlier this week to treat bronchitis. His spokesperson says the Pope's recovery has been, quote, normal, and he even managed to feast on a pizza for dinner last night. And today we saw the first conviction made in the Rust shooting case against actor Alec Baldwin. One of his co-defendants, David Halls, just took a plea deal on misdemeanor gun charges. Halls was the safety coordinator and first assistant director on set when cinematographer Helena Hutchins was fatally shot. NBC's Mara Barrett has the details.
Now, the name everyone is familiar with this shooting and the upcoming trial is Alec Baldwin, the celebrity at the center of this case. But David Halls was in court today, appearing virtually. He was the first assistant director and the safety coordinator on set at the time of the shooting. And the prosecutor today in court said that it was his job to double-check the gun before he gave it to Baldwin to make sure that the rounds in the gun were, in fact, dummy rounds. Now, there's some contention over who, in fact, handed the gun to Baldwin and who's at fault in that case. But ultimately, David Halls pleaded no contest, pleading guilty to the misdemeanor of negligent use of a weapon. And that means ultimately the sentence was up for 6 months incarcerated, but the judge allowed him to have 6 months of unsupervised probation. He'll also pay a $500 fine as well as participate in a gun safety, a firearm safety course. He's also instructed not to talk to any of the witnesses involved with the case. And that's important because this probably won't be the last time we see him in relation to these hearings. He's actually set to testify against Alec Baldwin and the armorer on set, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, who are both charged with involuntary manslaughter. We expect to see them in person in court for the first time coming up in May for the preliminary hearing. That's when the evidence will be introduced to determine whether or not this will go to trial. But this was just another step in the series of hearings that we've been following in the Rust shooting case to determine whether or not this will, in fact, go to trial. Back to you.
Mara, thank you. Today is International Transgender Day of Visibility, and around the world, people are celebrating the accomplishments of the trans community while also acknowledging the violence and discrimination they still face. Earlier in D.C., hundreds of supporters made their way towards Capitol Hill as part of the March for Queer and Trans Youth Autonomy. And here's what one of their organizers told our team.
This community has incredible resolve, it has incredible love, it has incredible compassion for other beings, and that is why we are all here today. We're here based on love and compassion. We do not want to yell, we do not want to argue, we want to live.
Tonight in Tennessee, there are fresh concerns for the community, and that's because at midnight tonight, Tennessee will become the first state in the country to ban drag performances in any place in the presence of someone under the age of 18. NBC's Antonia Hilton is in Tennessee with an in-depth look on the issue.
Since she turned 18, Story Van Ness has loved drag. As a transgender woman living in Knoxville, she's no stranger to feeling isolated. But since the passage of a new law restricting drag shows and the shooting in Nashville Monday, she's been unable to sleep.
How do you feel right now when you perform in drag?
Somebody walked in during my number, and I immediately thought this could be it. Just today could be the day, you know.
At midnight tonight, Tennessee will become the first state to implement a law restricting drag performances in public or anywhere a child might see them. Conservatives say the law, which would carry a misdemeanor on the first offense and a felony on the second, will only ban performances that are harmful to minors. At least 14 other states have similar bills in progress.
All we can do is say that it's bad and it's wrong and please don't do this to us. But they have found us to be a really effective political tool.
New research released this week by GLAAD found 161 incidents of anti-LGBTQ protests, attacks, and threats targeting drag events since early 2022. Performers warn this is part of a series of bills that will marginalize LGBTQ people.
If lawmakers in my state really wanted to protect kids, maybe they would do something about assault rifles.
State Senator Jack Johnson authored Tennessee's law that equates drag shows with sexual activities.
The community is saying they feel attacked by this bill.
Well, they shouldn't unless they intend to perform sexually graphic entertainment in front of kids.
Circle the sentence. Tony Stockton is a mom of 4. She first heard about drag back in 2019 and started a group to stop drag queens from doing story time at her local library.
Little boys, hey, put on Disney dresses and little girls. It's just, there's so much confusion that it's our job as a parent to point them in the right direction.
Why protest their events? Why they don't come to your church? So why go and tell them they can't go to a library?
Well, the live and let live is very dangerous. When you don't stand on biblical convictions, people will always go the way of culture.
Hey, welcome. Okay.
Story refuses to give up on drag. She has this warning.
We need all hands on deck, because when they finish with us, don't be naive enough to think that they're not coming for you.
Antonia Hilton, NBC News, Knoxville, Tennessee.
And we're still keeping an eye out for severe weather tonight. And this comes just 1 week after another tornado ripped through the states of Mississippi, killing more than 20 people. Earlier today, the President and First Lady visited one of the affected towns, Rolling Fork, and it's his first visit to the state as president. While there, he surveyed the damage, met with some of the survivors, and pledged the federal government's continued support.
Today, I authorized the federal government to cover 100% of the cost for removing debris and emergency measures that are involved in keeping up here, by keeping shelters up and running and paying for every overtime for everyone. 100% of the cost, not for the state, but for us, for 30 days. And then after that, we're not leaving either.
NBC News correspondent Ron Allen joins us with more. Ron?
Hey there, Gady. Yeah, a very emotional day here in Rolling Fork. President Biden and the First Lady meeting with residents, meeting with community leaders and local officials, getting a sense of the devastation here firsthand. And it is enormous when you look around this town of some just a few thousand people that lost 13 lives. It is just utterly destroyed and devastated. One example, we met the police chief and his wife here and their 12-year-old daughter, who said that they are homeless, and they'd heard that there was a nonprofit that was donating mobile homes, and that was something they were going to look into so that they would have a place to live, because they were losing the place that they had for the past couple of days. It's been a week here, and one of the positive signs people have been pointing to today is that the electricity is back on in many of these homes, the ones that are left standing, and the roads are clear. So those are markers of success. President Biden's message here was that the federal government is not going anywhere, that they're going to be here to bring this community back. And remember, this was one of the most economically devastated, struggling communities, not just in this state, but in the country. Very low median income. And they were focusing on things like trying to get the post office open so that people could get their prescription medications delivered here. So a lot of work here. And there's in the forecast, there's a threat of more severe weather coming, not just here, but nearby. And people are hoping that that doesn't come too close. But some counties that were hit last week could be affected by that. So, again, a very long road here. And President Biden assuring this community that the federal government and his administration will be with them all along the way. Gady, back to you.
Ron Allen, thanks so much. Coming up, have you ever imagined going to the moon, maybe? What about driving on it? Well, we took a ride in one of the next rovers headed to the lunar surface. I'll tell you how it felt. Coming up next.
All is well with Apollo 17, and here is what it sounded like today as the spacecraft Challenger zoomed toward the surface of the moon.
Okay, stand by for pitch over. Or we coming in. 20 feet. Going down at 2. 10 feet. 10 feet. Contact. Stop push. Engine stop. Engine arm. Proceed. Command override off. Boat control ahead. Hold. Pings auto. Okay, Houston, the Challenger has landed.
You have no idea how badly I want to do a newscast exactly like that. That was from the NBC News archives, the 1972 nightly news broadcast on the day Apollo 17 landed on the moon. That was the last time any human stepped foot on the lunar surface. But next week, NASA will be one step closer to returning. The crew for Artemis 2 is going to be announced on Monday. This is the second of 3 missions, which will ultimately land a man and, for the first time, a woman on the moon by 2025. can't wait for April 3rd already. When humans do return to the moon, they're going to need something to drive, right? Well, today, a California startup announced it is among the first to sign a deal with SpaceX Astrolab. They're going to send a robotic version of its transport vehicle to the moon's surface. That rover that you're looking at right there, it's about the size, a little bit smaller than a Jeep, but driving it is a lot harder than it looks.
Wow. This is Flex, a prototype from the company Astrolab, tested out by a former commander of the International Space Station, Chris Hadfield.
It's not only a little automated forklift, but it becomes a transport vehicle for astronauts on the surface of the moon.
And it can be operated from Earth, allowing lunar base building before humans even get there, prepping vital life support systems, and picking up and deploying cargo in Lego-like containers.
So you're not just designing a rover, you're designing an entire ecosystem.
We want to set the standard for lunar logistics. We want to be the UPS and the Uber of the moon, right?
But that'll mean making solar-powered rovers able to last 10 years through extreme temperatures, and along the way, maybe even breaking a lunar speed record.
You think you could beat 11 miles an hour on the moon with this?
I think so, yeah.
All right, so we're on max speed right here on Earth. Let's give it a go.
Yep.
Not exactly light speed, but Astrolab is convinced they've got a head start against aerospace giants like Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin, who have also released concepts. All of them hoping to be picked for NASA's planned Artemis missions to put humans back on the moon and one day maybe even Mars, where they will definitely need some very experienced drivers.
You're a natural.
Building my resume already.
Yeah.
There is so much that's getting ready to change up there. And who better to talk space than an astronaut? And what's better than one astronaut? Two astronauts. We've got two astronauts on set with us here in Los Angeles. Peggy Whitson is commanding the upcoming all-private Axiom Mission 2 to the International Space Station. John Schaffner will be the pilot on the mission. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. You guys, we're very close right now. We're about to be a whole lot farther away. Tell me, first off, how's the training going, and what's the launch window looking like?
Well, the training is going really well. We are nearing the final phases, and so we're pretty jam-packed all the time. We are training not only at NASA for the International Space Station training, we're training at SpaceX, and then, of course, Axiom as well, because we are integrating all aspects from all three.
And the launch window, I know it's no earlier than or no,
yeah, well,
those things are always tricky.
It's getting close. You know, we feel it, you know, it's never a better time to be an astronaut when the mission's right in front of you. So the training's fast and furious, but it's really, really coming together.
Definitely going to be this year.
Oh, yeah. We're hoping early May.
Early May. All right. Fingers crossed. Now, I want to ask, we were just talking about it's SpaceX, you've got NASA, you've got Axiom. Combining all those together, what's that like? What's this new world of collaboration between public and private looking like for an astronaut that's in training?
Well, our mission is very specific and, relatively short, 12 days long. So we're trying to optimize the training for those few days that we're going to be up there. But we're learning, we're using these short duration missions, Axiom is, to prototype how we're going to do it when we have the station building and constructed. I think it's really an exciting time because it shows you, SpaceX has done a phenomenal job getting up commercial crew carriers, and so they're carrying up NASA astronauts, and in our case, private and government astronauts are going up to the space station as well. And then there are other companies out there that are trying to do same or similar with either building stations or developing other launch vehicles to get crew into orbit.
Now, Commander, you've done this before. This is your first time to space. What are you constantly asking her?
Well, I've been a student of space flight my whole life. I've enjoyed it. It's time for me to go, actually. And I've got a great commander. Her record speaks for itself. So I'm on standby following her lead. We've got a good training group between Axiom and NASA and SpaceX. The collaboration is beautiful. And it's coming together as a means to get us all headed toward space and the future. It's really wonderful.
Where do you see space exploration in the next 10, 20 years?
10 and 20 is a little harder to predict, but if you think about, we've been doing this for 60 years, and the last 23 years, we've had human presence in space, in low Earth orbit. I'd like to see in 20 years that we would have the same presence beginning on the lunar surface or in a space station orbiting the lunar surface. So, and then beyond that, of course, we need to be exploring other planets, Mars on top of the list.
And how about you?
Well, when I was growing up, I had a lunchbox that had a great image of Astro, whatever it was, on the Mars and Moon. I think we're headed into an era where that is now real. It's no longer science fiction. We're developing it, and we're going to make it happen. So, you know, as a people, we're space is going to come to us, and we might as well get on and start figuring out how to make it work.
And this is going to be the second mission with Axiom.
Yes.
What was the first mission like, and what are some of the lessons learned from there?
Well, we did learn a lot of lessons during the AX-1 mission, and primarily we needed to change some of our focuses in training. Everyone is kind of used to training for long-duration missions in some of our worlds, and so we need to train for a shorter duration mission, much kind of like going back to the shuttle days of planning for that much more compact time frame. And so we trained a lot. We changed a lot in the training flow to make us better prepared for this mission, I think. And I'm sure we'll have different things learned after this one. But, you know, as long as we're advancing, then we're doing great. And that's the purpose of these precursor missions to our Axiom station, is to get us trained up and ready to go. When we get the first module, it will be attached to the International Space Station and in late 2025. And from there, we'll grow. And before the ISS deorbits, we'll have the first commercial space station in low Earth orbit.
Last question for those of you that are watching at home and are like, well, you know, things are changing with the space race. Maybe I can be an astronaut. What's your biggest advice to somebody that is looking up at the stars and realizing space might be a lot more accessible than we once thought a few years ago?
Well, if you're already thinking about it, you're probably already half an astronaut. So the process to do that, as Peggy pointed out, is that's part of what these early missions are about, helping us develop the methodologies to get people into space. And we actually need people that want to consider that. Going back to school kids, education systems where the educators start speaking to space and about the opportunities that space provides at all levels of careers. And if a child has an interest or a voice that might lend them in that direction, then lean into that. That's what we're trying to encourage here, is demonstrate that it's available and it's working. We build on that mission and we get people to space.
I can't wait to see the launch, and thank you so very much for being here. Godspeed, you two.
All right. Thank you so very much.
And coming up, a pop quiz. Do you know how Washington, D.C.'s iconic cherry blossoms got there? Well, we've got the answer right after this. And it's that time of year again. The D.C. cherry blossom trees are blooming. It is a view that draws in millions of people from across the world. But a lot of people don't know how those Japanese trees arrived at the Capitol in the first place. And fortunately, NBC's Kristen Welker is here to tell us how.
Good day to you. It is springtime, and that means people come from far and wide to see this incredible sight behind me. We're talking about the cherry trees and the story of how they got here, as beautiful as the flowers themselves. It's dawn, and already people are gathering to see the majestic cherry blossoms in Washington, D.C., an annual tradition that draws people from all over the world. But how these trees got here, still a mystery to many. Do you know whose idea it was to bring the cherry blossoms here?
No idea.
It has something to do with Japan and a gift.
They were a gift from Japan, right?
A gift from Japan, yes. But whose original idea was it? A little known fact until now. Whose idea was it to bring Japanese cherry trees here?
It was definitely Eliza Sidmore's original idea.
You'd be forgiven if you've never heard of Eliza Sidmore. She doesn't get high billing in the history books. But Diana Parcell is now telling Sidmore's story, a post-Civil War journalist turned travel writer.
Found out she was an early newspaper correspondent in Washington, and that was amazing for a woman in the 1870s.
That tenacity took Sidmore all over the country and world. Alaska, China, Java, and beyond, becoming the first female writer and photographer for National Geographic. But it was a trip to Japan that became transformative.
She is struck by the cherry trees.
There was this ritual called Hanami, where the Japanese come out every spring and stroll beneath the trees in this spirit of fellowship and humanity and joy. That's the experience she wanted to create in D.C.
Sidmore saw great potential for her hometown, where the Washington Monument and the area around it was still under construction.
You are describing her as a visionary.
She was a visionary.
As soon as Sidmore, only in her 20s, got home, she asked top officials to bring some of Japan's cherry trees to Washington.
What was the response she got?
They listened to her, and then they ignored her.
But Sidmore was determined, and she kept asking for the next 24 years.
What kept her going?
It was her personality, and she just wasn't going to take no for an answer.
Finally, in 1909, Sidmore found an ally in the White House, writing a letter to First Lady Helen Taft.
Mrs. Taft immediately took up the idea, and from this point on, the two of them worked together to make it happen.
With that powerful partnership, it didn't take long for Tokyo to agree, sending 2,000 trees to the U.S. But there was a problem.
They were all infested with a variety of pests, and they said these are a risk to U.S. agriculture. They have to be destroyed. And so all 2,000 of those trees were burned.
Japan was undeterred, this time sending a whopping 3,000 trees. In 1912, Mrs. Taft invited Sidmore to a small ceremony to plant them.
I can't imagine the sense of satisfaction she must have felt. I think it must have been tremendously gratifying for her.
Now, nestled deep in the tidal basin, some of the oldest trees dating back to Sidmore's era.
Gnarled, twisted trunks, missing bark. They're really not much to look at the rest of the year, but every spring, here they are in full bloom.
Today, the annual blooms bring out more than 1 million visitors.
It's beautiful that we can share this with so many nationalities and so many people, and it's a great thing.
Sidmore's vision from so long ago, now a reality. That spirit of fellowship, humanity, and joy in full bloom for eternity.
Sidmore had so many adventures that she's now referred to as the Forrest Gump of her era. And all you have to do is look around me to understand the gift that she gave to all of us. Now, the cherry blossoms bloomed a little bit earlier this year because we had a warmer winter. They typically stick around for about 7 to 10 days. So come on down, get a glimpse. They are truly spectacular.
Kristen Welker, thank you. Wasn't that delightful? A stroll with Kristen Welker through D.C. That does it for us tonight. I'm Gadi Schwartz. We're going to see you next week. But until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.